Hello there, my name's Carlo. Welcome to another tutorial. This is going to be an interesting tutorial actually. We're going to actually be using 3 programs doing this. And what we're going to be using is After Effects, Boujou and Cinema 4D. What we're going to be doing is tracking some footage and you passing it through Boujou for tracking and then placing it into Cinema 4D for a final render. So very simple. First of all, what we're going to do is I'm just going to import some footage. I'm just going to go to my desktop, and this is just a very simple thing that I made in with Elements here. It's just a very quick city panning down, as you can see. So all I'm doing now is just quickly rendering that out so I get a better workflow and it's more quicker. And as you can see, the camera basically just pans down like so. So it's very straightforward, nothing too clever, just works. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to composition settings, and we need to keep our frame rate the same all the time throughout this entire project. So obviously this video is in 25 frames, so for the entire project we need to keep it at 25 frames. Okay, so obviously we don't need to do anything to this because all we're doing is exporting this, and what we're going to do is we're going to export it into a JPEG sequence. Okay, so we're going to add it to render queue, and then we're going to go to lossless and we're going to change that to here, JPEG sequence. Very straightforward. And then we're going to click OK, and then we're going to change our city settings, and we're just going to rename that to City 1. Okay, now what we need to do within this, I'm going to select it to my desktop. We need to make a new folder. Very important that you make a folder for this, because obviously you're exporting hundreds of pictures here, so you don't want to sort of end up with a desktop with hundreds of pictures, otherwise it'll drive you up the wall. Or it will drive you up the wall, shall I say. So I'm just going to click on save, and then I'm just going to render that. This shouldn't take too long to render, so I'll keep it real, I'll keep it running in real time so you can see exactly what's going on. And at the moment what this is doing, or what After Effects is doing, is just basically creating a JPEG sequence, so hundreds of pictures in sequence, so we can add it in Boujou and have one frame, one complete film frame, if that makes sense. So I'll just wait for that to finish, and then we'll go to the next step. I always like to export when I'm working in either 3ds Max, Cinema, Modo. I always like to import it, I export it in a JPEG sequence, picture sequence, because I just feel like, you know, you could. It's a better workflow as well, rather than exporting it into an AVI file, or you know, a HD file straight away, because this you can work with. So we'll just finish that off. Okay, so that's done. So I don't need After Effects no more, so I'm going to close up After Effects. And then I'm just going to have a look at my file, which is here, City Test. And as you can see, I've got hundreds of files in this folder. So can you imagine if you would have just let this go on your desktop, it would have been ridiculous. Okay, so now what we're going to do is simply going to open up Boujou. And Boujou, what Boujou is going to do is we're going to use Boujou for tracking. Now obviously After Effects has got tracking tools in it, you know, so's, you know, Nuke and stuff like that, but I do like the tracking tool in Boujou, just because it's actually, that's what it's designed for. It's just a tracking tool, so it does the job brilliant. So what I'm going to do is File, I'm going to go to Open. I'm going to find my Boujou project here. I'm just going to open that up, and then I'm going to select my first picture, and all I'm going to do is simply click Open. Now this is it here, what I was telling you about. You see frame rate is 24, we need to change that to 25 frames to keep that in the same motion as After Effects, otherwise it will get messed up. trust, it will get messed up if you don't. So I'm just going to click apply to that, then I'm going to click close, and if you look here, we've got our whole sequence in Boujou. Now the next stage is obviously to track our feature. It's very, very straightforward in Boujou. All we're doing simply is clicking the track feature button. Make sure all your frames are selected. That's all you need to do here, and then click start. And what Boujou would do now is track the entire footage of your scene. So guys, what I'll do, because it's quite a lengthy process tracking, even though it only take a couple of minutes, I'm going to pause it and come back to you after Boujou has finished the tracking process. Okay, so Boujou has finished tracking the scene. So what we're going to do now is we're going to solve our camera. So very, very simply, we're going to come here and click solve camera. Again, all frames, click start, and let Boujou solve the camera for you as quick as it can. So we're just waiting for that to solve. I'll just pause it very quickly while Boujou solves this scene. Okay, so Boujou's nearly finished solving the camera. It's saving the project, as you can see, and that's done. So what we need to do now is create a scene geometry, and basically the reason why we do that is basically we're telling Boujou where the floor is in this composition. So if we select our scene geometry here, as you can see, what we're going to do is add chord from hint. So we're going to click on that, and then we're going to start off with our Z axis. Okay, so if you're not too sure what a Z axis is, move this to one side. Your Z axis is basically coming straight down. Okay, so we're going to select these points. I'm going to select the first point, I'm going to hold down the Apple key, I'm going to select another point, and I'm going to come all the way down like so. After we've done that, we're going to connect to selected as so. So that is already tracked 4 points. So next we're going to come up to our x-axis, and x-axis is basically coming straight across along like this. So basically we're going to click on this one. All these will do straight across here like so, and then we are going to connect to selected on the x-axis. I'll change that back to Z, sorry. I'm going to add from hint, change that to our x-axis, make sure this is all highlighted, and connect to selected. Right, so then the final one is our origin, and our origin, sorry, change that back over to X. This one to origin is basically our whole scene. So we're going to get all this basically up to about here, right? So and then we're going to connect to selected, and then update coordinate frame. Now once that's done, if we go into our 3D mode, as you can see here, we've created our scene geometry, we've created our tracking points, which we need to bring over into 4D. So in order to do that, we need to go to export camera solve, and this is the important bit now. In your start index, your null size and scale by scene, you need to change that to 100. So we change that to 100, and then we're going to go to export to Cinema 4D, and then we're going to change our save location to our desktop, and then obviously give that a title. So I'll just title it as test, click save, save again, and let Boujou export to 4D. Right, so once that's done, we can hide Boujou for now, and then up here we've got our file we've just created. So we're going to drop that down into 4D and let that open. Do apologise about the baby screaming in the background, but hey ho. and then we're going to keep our Lightweave 3D importer to 10. If it defaults to 100, put it to 10, and then click OK. So as you can see, our Boujou image is been exported into 4D.